So, I believe we should be live now. Let's find out. There we go. It's live. I have no idea what my volume's like, so we'll just have to see how it goes. But I did do a quick check beforehand just to make sure that I am audible. So hello everybody, welcome to art. As you can see, we have a beautiful painting, an abstract in front of us right now. Quite simple, quite straightforward. And this is our opportunity to create some art. So type into the chat to let me know, to let the computer know what art is supposed to be. And you can see up on the screen we've got this is what is being painted. And then we've got the computer interpreting whether or not this counts as art. Currently it is 0% art right now. But I can influence how art it thinks it is by painting. So let's get some paints onto this canvas. So let's make myself some red paint. I want some red and want some blue, and it wants a bit of white left over as well. So I'm going to start nice and simple with this. Let's get a good squirt of blue paint in there and start painting a beautiful sunset. So it's 60% red, 30% blue. So let's be a bit ambitious with this. Let's paint the sun in blue. I guess the sun in blue, or maybe we need a kind of silhouette. Let's see the ground. Let's paint the ground in blue. There we go. Paint the ground nice and blue. And then if we can do the sky in red. Sky red, and then leave some space for a white sun or something to emanate out of it. Let's see. Let's get that red paint on. I'm using the same brush for everything, hoping that the computer won't notice. We'll see. I can't tell. It doesn't seem to be detecting any blue in that yet, so let's just carry on. Let me know in the chat if my volume is alright. It is really hard to calibrate. There we go. How are we doing? So we're getting there. We're starting to get some red into this sunset. Beautiful, beautiful sunset. I guess the sun is kind of like arc-shaped, really, isn't it? It's a hoop, it's a circle, an oval. Let's see, how's that looking? We're getting closer. I have to step away from it periodically because what it's doing is it's using these, if you can see in the picture, it's using these to help it interpret what colours are what. And so if I cover them up with my hand, it gets harder for it to decide. Oh, but it seems to be doing. Let's see, how art is it right now? 77% art already. I think is pretty good. So I think we're doing quite well. Thank you very much. Welcome to the stream, Chippy. Now, if you want, let's see, 86% art. We need more red according to the monitor. But if you do want to change things up, all you need to do is type into the chat. We've got commands over here on the side. You've got commands you can type in, so you can change the amount of red, yellow, green, blue, or white that you want to see. We are getting very close to art now. Still needs a bit more red. Let's, I guess I can kind of do some. I wonder if I can do some red shimmering down here, just to kind of like the red sunshine is it's making an impact on this beautiful blue ocean. Let's see, what does that look like if I step away? It's getting 87% art. You know, tiny wee bit more red and a tiny wee bit more blue. So I'm going to just try and spread out this red a bit. There we go. So that looks like that's the right amount of red. Look at that. That's perfect. That is beautiful. That is pure art. How much art do you think it needs to be for me to be a successful artist? Because 88% is pretty art, I have to say. As art goes, you can't get much more than art than 88% art. You know, can anything be really 100% art? Answers on a postcard. So, now you've got that big yellow patch there. I wonder if I just replace it with blue, is that going to... Okay, now it thinks it's green. And that's possibly a suggestion for introducing why the title is the way it is. See, when I was testing this, I found it was kind of hard to make it, because once you've painted a colour, it's hard to tell what's going to do. Okay, so we want a little bit... Oh, we want a lot more blue this time. I'm going to show you the papering over bit. It's very hard to paint on top of paint that's already there and have it be picked up as the new colour, because it all mixes up, it all becomes grey. But if you stick paper on top, there we go, it replaces it with white, and then we can paint on top of that. So let's get a good blob of blue on there to fill up this gap. Fill up this gap with a nice big chunk of blue. And why is it blue in context? I guess we want to give this painting a beautiful blue frame. That would make sense. Art has a frame. There we go. This beautiful, beautiful blue sunset. Thank you for a change of prompt there, Chippy. Prompting me to try to be a better artist. There we go. So it is picking up as green, but we'll see how that goes. So I think I just need to replace some of the sky with some blue, beautiful blue birds. There we go. Let's get some birds in there. I had to paint quite thick for the blue to get recognised as blue instead of green. You can see it's kind of being recognised as green right there, isn't it? So I may need to paper over it. On comes the paper. Let's replace some of that with something that's a little easier to paint over. Some more blue. I'm running out of blue, so I'm going to get myself some more blue paint. Go, blue paint. Some arty vibes in the music for us right now. So let's make these, and they're kind of like mountains. Got like these big blue mountains in the background or something. Sunset over the blue mountains. That'd be quite a nice name for a painting. Sunset over the blue mountains. Let's get a 62%, around, if I stand back, it's about 60% art. That's pretty good. Pretty good. 60% I think is a C at A level, so, you know, not doing bad, not doing bad. Although it does get detected as green sometimes. So let's get some more blue on there. Let's make Oh, we're looking at the sunset through a cave. That's what we're doing. We are looking at the sunset through a cave. So let's get the cave walls up. And of course the cave walls are going to be blue. There we go. We can paint those in our beautiful, beautiful blue tones. There we go. Let's get some nice artistic mellow blue on there. Blue to go with this music. This is quite blue music, really, isn't it? Let's get this bit of cave wall as well. Let's make sure that is nice. Beautiful, tasteful blue. Lovely. Look at that. Look at all this blue. We must be getting more arty now. As about 70, let's say 72. Okay, it's settled on 72% art. It's pretty good. I wonder if I can spread out this blue to make more blue. See if that more blue will make it more art. Or maybe it wants more red. I think that's what it wants. I think it wants a bit more red now. So you can see the colours that it knows the names of are red, yellow, green and blue. There we go. Look at that. Beautiful sunset. Let's get some red in there. Gonna wash this brush. Oh, and we want some triangles now. Let's get some triangles in there. All right. Sip of coffee. Art fuel here. Delicious. Right, so we want triangles. So we need to fill up this canvas with a bit more red. And I can see there's a patch where the computer's interpreting the green, the blue as green. So I'm going to cover that up with white in hope that I can replace some of that green with some red triangles. Let's first... Oh, that was 2 sheets of paper, so they're not sticking to each other. Let's get a big blob of red there. I need some more red paint on my palette. How does this bit work? Well, so what it's doing is the words are basically, they're just for me, you know? You want me to draw triangles, I will draw triangles. The camera is looking at the canvas, and it's comparing. You see on the sides of these, it's got a row of colours, and it's comparing the colours that it sees here with the colours that it picks up along there, and using that to figure out how many pixels are filled up with each kind of colour. So if I paint some red triangles here, it's going to detect there being more red on this canvas. I can make the red stick to the red, and you'll see on the screen base over there. It's hard to point at. There we go. Up there, you can see this is what the computer's seeing, and that's what it's interpreting. And that's what it's using to kind of figure out what all its colours are. Let's get some triangles in there. I hope that made sense. Let me know if any of it needs clarification. If we get some more red on here, get some more red triangles. Beautiful red triangles. There we go. So it can tell the red apart from the blue. I feel like we've nearly got enough red there. 74, 75% art. Some good. That's some good art. Let's get another red triangle here, and then we can fill up all the gaps. All the gaps with blue. What's that looking like? Okay, let's get some more blue. I'm going to squirt some more blue paint into my palette. There's no such thing as too much blue. Oh, and we've had a change. We had a change. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Andy Katamari and Hey, it's Helen. Welcome to the stream. Let's see if we can push this in a Picasso direction. Right, so art is sunflowers made with yellow. So I'm going to need to, so that you can tell apart the yellow from the background, I'm going to need to put some paper on top of it. I'm going to need to paper over what we already have. And we want to eliminate, really, the blue, don't we? So let's paper over some of that blue to make room for some beautiful, beautiful sunflowers. There we go. And you can see there, the white paper is now being picked up as white space. I wonder if I can just keep sticking more of these bits of paper on there. Let's see. No pressure. Of course there's no pressure. This is art. Art is a world without pressure, where I just focus on my muse, you know, and that's you. You are all my muse today. So thank you for giving me these musings, this amusement. Okay, now what do we need? We need a lot of yellow in these sunflowers, don't we? So let's make some big yellow petals. I wonder if I can get away with making sunflowers that are entirely yellow. I need to paper over that bit, because the blue started to mix with the yellow there, and I think that would get picked up as green by the computer. So let's get these sunflowers in there. Ooh, that might get picked up as red. Let's see, if we stand up back. It's a bit of a mix of red and yellow. I think it'll fly. I think Picasso will be happy. But you can see the score that it gets. It's only, what, 19% art at the moment. So up at the top of the screen, you can see how art it is. And that's going to be our metric for success. Obviously, I do consider myself an artist, so I would like my work to be as art as possible. And in this, in this modern day of NFTs and whatnot, it really is the computers that decide what is art, the algorithms. So, I'm just responding to the world that's in front of me. I paint life, I paint what I see. There we go. Let's see if the NFT gods will smile upon me for these beautiful, beautiful sunflowers. Oh, I could use the green to make the stems, couldn't I? Let's do that. Let's get some... Is that being picked up as yellow? Yeah, look at that. These sunflowers are being detected as yellow. That's good. We might need a lot more yellow than we currently got. Let's get a big squirt of that poster paint on there. Let's make some more art. There we go. Look at this. Beautiful petals. Very summery, this, isn't it? It's a lovely, lovely summery day. Sunflowers just make you feel so warm and sunny, don't they? Let's get these green stalks on. That's what we're missing. We're missing a few green stalks. Maybe some green leaves. Do sunflowers have leaves coming out? I feel like they've got leaves coming out of the stalks, don't they? So let's draw a nice green stem coming out there. And the green stem coming out there. The green stem coming out of there. I like that. That is a real murky colour there. But the computer seems to think, yep, no, that's definitely green. That is unambiguously green. I wonder if I should just put a few more stalks in. Because we're going to want to get rid of a lot of this red. So if I... Oh, that was me adding more red. I want to add some green stalks in. And then once I do, I can stick some paper sunflowers on top. So let's get some more as we enjoy the mellow sounds of Erik Satie as we make ourselves this beautiful composition. Thank you very much for the prompt of sunflowers. This is a nice cheerful prompt to start the afternoon's painting with. Now, we want to eliminate some of this red to give us space for more yellow sunflowers. So I'm just going to place some white bits of paper there. How art are we now? Okay, so the screen's telling me about 55% art. That's pretty good. I think we're going to want a lot more yellow in here to make it art. So let's cover up some of this red paint with some white. And we're going to put some lovely yellow sunflower petals on here. To keep my paper away from the calibration area. This is quite beautiful. Thank you very much, Helen. Now, you don't need to wait for this to be perfect. You know, you can, if you want to change the prompt at all, you know, you are more than welcome. Art is constantly moving and changing. You know, art never stands still. You just got to follow the muse where it takes you, and sometimes the muse will take you somewhere new. And you have to say, okay, look, my last piece was only 55% art. Now it's okay, it's past 60% art. And then, and you move on, you create, okay, well, what's my next piece? What's my next masterpiece? So do feel free to change your parameters at any point in time. It is totally up to you. Or just sit back and enjoy the painting of the beautiful sunflowers. I quite like this. This is like a nice, strange little abstract I feel like I'm creating at the moment. Might actually grab my phone at some point to take a photo of this, because this is actually quite a nice wee piece. Honestly, I was expecting all the... Oh! Okay! Now we're talking my language. I'll put these last few flowers on. So Ali, for the sake of clarity, is me. As people in video games tend to know me as Alistair. Everybody who, I guess, knows me from, like, real world friendships and stuff, like the normal world knows me as Ali. So, art is Ali means art is me. Let's have a look at, okay, so our sunflowers, that's our beautiful sunflowers. 75% art, I think, is a pretty good score. I'm going to take a photo of this because I think this is actually quite beautiful, and it's quite nice. I like that. Alright, and then it's time to change up the game. So we want to keep roughly the same proportions of colours. 70% yellow, 20% green, and 10% red, but it now needs to look like me. My favourite, my favourite muse. So, even though I've got a lot of yellow, and I'm probably going to be putting on a bit more, I think I'm going to cover some of this up so that I have space to kind of define where Ali should go. Now, am I doing my face or am I doing my or am I doing my whole body? I think it's got to be the face. That seems nice and difficult. So it's a self-portrait. I can look at myself in the camera, so I know what I look like. But I know I have a roughly circular head. This is a good starting point. I have a circular head. And what colours do we want? We want a bit of green in there, don't we? So maybe I'll give myself green hair. Let's give myself a neck. And a bit of a chin. Let's see. And so I've got a bit of green for my beautiful eyebrows. That's I don't know if my eyebrows are as big as I think they are, but in my head my eyebrows are really large. And my nose has a kind of like bulge up at the top, like it's sort of, I don't know how to describe that, but it's got a kind of lumpy bit here, quite pronounced. And I guess those are the two things I usually use as a kind of, whenever I'm drawing myself, that's like what I like. Those are my big reference points. Now, I used to have really easy to draw hair because I used to have long hair that was very straight. But now my hair is short and it goes in kind of wavy directions, and that's quite hard to capture in a painting. I haven't figured it out yet. So I don't miss my long hair, but I do miss self-portraits being that much more straightforward. So I like this kind of curly effect. I mean, it doesn't really look like me, but it's got a nice, I like that wispy hairstyle thing that I've managed to pull off, which I didn't think was possible. So I've got to have a smile. I might need to open my jaw a bit, so now I'm having to think about how I'll do the jaw. Actually, that's quite nice. Just a nice, quite a subtle smile there. And we want some more yellow, and we want a little bit of red in there. So let's think how we're gonna make this happen. Oh, and obviously I've got my green hoodie on right now, so we need some shoulders. There we go, some green for the shoulders. There we go. So we have an Alistair in a green hoodie. Oh, thank you very much, Chippy. And ooh, what's next? Okay, well, we definitely need some more yellow in the scene. And we need a bit of blue. We need to eliminate some of this white and replace it with yellow. But the question is, how do we replace all of that? Like, if I just fill in all the white with yellow, you're not gonna be able to see the Alistair. So let's, what brushes do I have? Or maybe, ooh, Okay, no. I've got a plan for this. I've got a plan. Gonna get myself some more yellow paint. Squirt it into the thing. And I am going to make myself a kind of radiant outline. Like I am some kind of minor deity. An angel, perhaps. A red outline on Ali's face. Oh, that's a nice idea. Because then we get the red in. Yeah, let's give me a nice kind of halo effect to make me appear like a minor deity. Saint Alistair. Is that sacrilegious to refer to myself as Saint Alistair? I don't think there is a Saint Alistair yet, so, you know, I'm filling a void. There is a gap in the market for a Saint Alistair. 54% art. I guess being a little bit sacrilegious is probably, like, good in the art world, you know? You're challenging authority, so... There we go. How are we doing? It's got quite a lot of green there, maybe a bit too much green, but we do need more red. So let's paint that outline. Let's get some Ali outline. My pixely majesty. Thank you very much. And lo, they did witness the apparition of an Alistair, and it was good. There he is. That's come out quite nicely. That does have a bit of a kind of psychedelic feel. There's a sort of a kind of pop art vibe going on there, really, isn't there? And I want to say, like, Jasper Johns or someone like that. Like, this is me remembering back to GCSE art from when I was 16. And I guess the only pop artist I could kind of identify with any certainty would be Roy Lichtenstein and Andy Warhol. And definitely one of the other pop artists painted like this. So I am, you know, I know it's, you know, high praise to give myself, but you know, I feel mildly deserving of it. So let's see, where's it picking up green? We've got a splodge of green over here, which we're going to need to replace with yellow. And a splodge up here. I wonder if what I do is I cover up all the green that I see until there is no green left. Oh, but the colours have changed. The colours have changed, and we want a little bit of blue in there now. Right. So I'm going to cover up more of that green. Where's it seeing green? It's seeing green up in the corner there. Until we've got roughly the right amount of green. And I'm going to replace that white with a bit of blue and a lot of yellow. Where else is it seeing green? It's seeing... Oh, there's the green down there. Right. I have to say, I'm having a lot of fun doing this. Right, so here we go. So that is roughly the right amount of green for it to be art. 63% art right now. And we want to replace that with a lot of yellow and a bit of blue. So let's see, can we get the right amount of yellow in here? I'm going to switch over to a nice clean brush. I want it to be contaminated with all the green that I've been using. be counterproductive. Let's get a nice, good blobs of yellow on there. And how are we doing? 82% art. Oh, 82% is an A at GCSE and A level, so I'm making progress. They'll make a great artist out of me yet. How am I doing? Oh, that is... Let's get a little bit more yellow on there, just a tiny bit. Let's maybe fill in these gaps. Oh, got a bit of green in there, accidentally. I'm having to lay on the yellow quite thick so it doesn't mix with what's below it. Oh, that yellow's nearly spot on. That's beautiful. So now let's replace the last of that white with some blue. And then I think we have ourselves a masterpiece. Look at this. There we go. How are we doing? Okay, so it says 74. I feel like this is better than it was, but I mean, I may be messing with the calibration slightly. I may have to trim some bits. It may be, if you can see in the camera, like that bit of paper probably shouldn't be there. So let's cut off that. There we go. Oh, okay, or just rip it off. Let's see. That seems a bit more consistent now. I think that must have been interfering with the calibration. So, got to figure out where to put it. I'll stick it there. There we go. Now, what do we need? What do we need? We need a little bit more yellow and a bit less green. Maybe I'll use this patch here. And I can give myself like a little crest or something. A little yellow crest. Or maybe I'm behind a giant Dorito. Which is one of my ambitions in life. Is to make contact in some way with a giant Dorito. So this is a self-portrait that captures not just my appearance, but you know, my dreams and aspirations to become the Dorito Man. Oh, maybe I'm behind some mountains. The big Dorito mountains. That bit of green isn't even in camera shot. So maybe I'll hide myself behind some of these green Doritos as I lather it with beautiful thick yellow paint. The yellow paint seems to need to be lathered on quite thickly because it does mix with basically everything to become not yellow anymore. So I guess there's lessons in colour theory here. Emerging from my Dorito-like shrine. How are we doing? It's a solid, consistent 85% art. We don't want it to be any more yellow, but we do want to replace with some green with some blue. So let's stick some blue there. And there. And there. Or I mean, I could try giving myself blue hair. That might work. It's kind of like I'm wearing a boa or something. Hey, oh, 90%! Did you see that? It just hit 90% art. I'm really happy with this. I quite want to keep that as that is, kind of accept 90% as a score, and then stick, and then take a photo of this. Which means that what I'd love right now is, thank you very much, Helen, thank you. I'm really proud of this. So with that in mind, I think what I want to do is to get another prompt from you. So what is art and what colours should art be? Tell me in the chat. I'm going to cut off this bit there just so it doesn't interfere with the calibration. So feel free just to type anything into the chat. Art is ... and names of colours followed by numbers or preceded by numbers. It'll figure it out. As I enjoy another sip of my coffee and just gaze into the beauty of this piece of artwork. It's quite nice. So, art is fear. Oh, this is nice. This is an opportunity to go a bit abstract, isn't it? Let's have a change of colours in there. Just type some colours, type some numbers. Red, yellow, green, blue, and white are the ones it recognises. So just give me a random set of colours. And I'll have a little think about how am I going to portray fear as an artist. Am I going to be figurative about it? Am I going to be purely metaphorical? Right, so 65% red, 15% blue, 10% white, and 10% yellow. So our old friend the green is going to disappear. Green seems to be the colour that it gravitates to if it's not sure what it's looking at. So let's start by covering up all of this green. We say goodbye to the image of St. Alistair. But we'll leave some of that blue behind because we've almost got the right amount of blue. But we want to replace all of this yellow with red, don't we? So let's just start by covering up a big chunk of this yellow. I guess because I've laddered on the yellow quite thick, the paper's going to stick quite neatly. So let's see what we get. Okay. Now we're going to want to keep a bit of this white, aren't we? So it's got this green here just coming down the back of my hairline. So let's cover that up, and then we've got enough real estate to start our picture of fear. So here's our starting point. Fear, fear, fear. I want it to be red. So let's start with red. I'm feeling kind of fear. Fear is a kind of... fear can be... There's different kinds of fear. There's, kind of existential fear, which is a kind of a terror that you feel in your gut. But there's also the fear of something that's impending, something, fear can come with a kind of internal emptiness, or it can feel like, you know, you need to curl up into a ball and protect yourself from it. And I think I might go for something that's sort of along the lines of curling up into a ball, because that means that I can paint something kind of aggressive coming in from the outside, which feels like a nice obvious direction to take this in. So let's get something imposing. Let's get some sharp, violent reds coming in from the outside, pointing in like daggers. You know, what is it that you fear? I mean, I guess this is sort of... I mean, you look at the current situation with COVID and everything, and, you know, I found myself fearing COVID recently, you know? But, like, there's two different fears to that, aren't there? There is the fear that, you know, if I get a bus, I am going to catch it, you know? And that is a fear that, like, there is a sort of a danger, you know, there. But there's also, like, you know, another of my fears is that I may not be able to perform on stage again for, you know, however long it might be, you know, 5 years, 6 years, like, maybe I'm exaggerating there, but maybe I'm not, you know, we don't know how long everything's going to last, and how long is it going to be before I have a playable show, and that fear is more of a kind of a chilling kind of a fear of something that is ever present, you know, it's not something that you can curl up into a ball and protect yourself from, in the way that you know, if you're on a bus, you can, you know, cover your mouth with your hands and, you know, like, try to stay away from people, and even though, like, you know, this may have a limited effect, it is something that you can do just to give yourself the illusion of taking control. But sometimes, you know, the fear is the fact that, you know, comes from the fact that there is nothing you can do, that you know, that you just have to sit with it. So, I mean, this has turned into a kind of gaping maw, isn't it? So maybe, oh, okay, so here's the direction we take this. Instead of being about, I was thinking we'd have the maw kind of imposing from above. You know, you want to protect yourself from the big maw of teeth. But what if fear in this portrayal is a fear, it's like falling into the maw, you know? And the maw is ever present, the maw is the maw consumes you. So let's get these nice sharp teeth in there. Do we have enough sharp teeth going on? Nearly, we've nearly got enough red. We're going to want to eliminate some of that yellow up there. Okay. Very close to enough red. 55% art, according to the Artometer. I feel like it should be called, like, Arthur or something, you know? The Artometer. Maybe I'll just make these teeth kind of bigger, because we are going to want to use up some of this white. Art Garfunkel. Oh, okay, so we have the perfect amount of red now. So now I think we want a bit more blue. So I think we're going to have ourselves a little blue man falling into the maw. Let's start with yes, everyone I paint kind of ends up slightly bean-like. So that's a leg, and that's another leg. Kind of pelvis in this figure. doing for art? So it's coming up as quite green for some reason. So we might need to improvise our way out of that. Arms reaching up, falling in like it's been pushed back into this moor. So these arms are a little bit short. See, I like what that looks like, but it's not being picked up as blue. So I wonder if I need to... some of the detail. 85% art. That's pretty good. I wonder if I can repaint this figure. If I put paper down for the shape of the figure, maybe I can just paint over all of that with the blue paint, or I find something else blue to draw with to try and get around, like, you know, I've got blue Sharpie, so I might try that to kind of get around the fact that it doesn't really recognise blue paint very well. I can't tell it apart from green. So, how are we going to do this? Right, so let's... got an arm there. I guess I want to just cover them all up just to make it consistent. This isn't really for the bot as much for the painting. It does look kind of like an aeroplane or an albatross or something, you know, some kind of collapsed bird or something, doesn't it? So what yeah, okay, let's, because I've got the idea in my head, can I find like a blue Sharpie or something? This pays me to do a big tidy up this week. Ooh, okay, this is a really blue pen. If this doesn't get picked up as blue, then I'll have to find another thing to do. Let's... If I colour in the calibration square with blue, maybe it'll get recognised a bit more. Maybe. Oddly, that seems to have worked. So let's get some... let's colour in this blue man. Falling into the hole. Into the maw. It's a nice word, that, isn't it? Maw. It's a little easier to draw a person though with a felt tip because I have a bit more control over it. I also like, because the felt tip figure is clearly different from that which is surrounding it, you know, I don't know, it feels like it's in the wrong place. It feels like it's in the wrong world. This figure kind of tumbling down. This figure from Inkworld going into Paint World. Although Inkworld may be threatened by the fact that this pen is clearly running out. So I might have to find another one. But like I said, I know I've got a thing of Sharpies somewhere in this flat. I made the foolish decision to tidy up recently. Oh wow, the head. The paint is so wet that it's really hard to define the figure there. But I'm quite happy with that. Let's see if I can find... Okay, so this blue might have... Okay, this blue has ink in it. Good. Good. I mean, maybe the fact that this figure is just kind of getting vaporized down here is just going to have to be part of it, you know? Maybe I could try some darker acrylic. I've got some darker acrylic here. A bit closer to ultramarineness. So let's see if this makes a difference. The colour, the numbers are quite close though. Now, in terms of how art is this, I nearly sprayed that all over my chair. The great thing about the poster paint is that it washes off. Acrylic not so much. I did get a bit of it on the chair. Oh well. That chair has... It's not the first time I've painted on it by accident. Let's see if I can fill in this head here. Yeah, that's getting picked up as blue. I wonder if it's the shiny bits. The bits where it's kind of reflective. That's where it picks it up as green. Let's see. I can always put some blue acrylic in there. There we go. I mean, that is definitely a figure tumbling into the moor. So, 87% art. We're pretty close on this. I think we just want to get rid of a bit of that white. So maybe I'd make some of the teeth on the moor blue as well. Just to... What colour does it think is there? Okay, so there's a patch which I thought was picking up as green and was being picked up as blue. So that's good. Maybe Arthur is a bit smarter than I thought. Smart Arthur. I have to say, I'm quite happy with this picture of Fear. Honestly, when you typed in something this challenging, honestly, I thought this one's going to be a bit of a tough one. But this has turned out kind of doable. So I think I just want to replace that yellow with green, and I think we have ourselves a perfect 90% scoring there on the Artometer. So if we replace those bits of green... Ah, thank you very much, Helen. If we replace these bits of green with yellow, which is going to be hard to do because they're kind of hard to identify. They're on the edges of stuff, really, aren't they? But let's see what we can do. And if we can do that, then I would be happy to call this a finished work of art. Green seems to be the colour that's very difficult to totally eliminate, isn't it? Seems to be detecting light blue as green. Yeah, it's definitely... Oh, no, that is getting marginally closer. Oh, okay, I've had an idea. I've had a very clever idea. let's see, I'm going to take my headphones off and go over to cardboard corner to see if I have any yellow card, which I do. Yellow card to the rescue. So, let's stick some yellow card on and see if that will cure our colour woes. And that seems quite effective. Okay, this is useful to know. "95% art." And the quest to eliminate all traces of green is possibly going to be a little bit beyond me, but I think getting all the way 96%? If I can get to 98%, I think I'll be quite happy. So let's fill this up. %, 93. It's gravitating on 92, 93. I doubt we'll be able to get a perfect score on this just because, you know, all those bits at the edges, whenever something's ambiguous, it gravitates to green. Like, it looks like I'm just making it worse now. So, maybe... ooh, a little bit more red. Yes, just a touch more red. I'm going to add a touch more red, and then I think I'm happy to call this one a finished work of art. So, let's see. A tiny bit more red instead of the yellow. So let's just add some dabs. I don't know what these represent. Maybe art isn't entirely representational though. Maybe you just paint because it feels like it needs to be there, feels like it needs to be on the canvas. Sometimes I'm being guided by the prompt, sometimes I'm just being guided by the necessities of the robot. Alright. It's fear, and they are more scary, right? Okay. Well, with that in mind, I'm quite happy with that 95% art we hit. So, where did I put my phone? I'm gonna get a photo of this. And thank you very much for the follow, Andy Katamari. Much appreciated. And there it goes. Right. So, how can we make this more scary? Let's have some colours. Art is fear. Do we not just have fear? We've had fear again. Alright, let's have a new prompt, everyone. What is art and what colours is it? Don't worry, Andy. Not a problem at all. I guess you were just typing in to make a joke. But honestly, I think I'm quite happy with this. I feel like I'd be, you know, if I was to continue with this one, I'd be getting stuck on the minutiae of it, rather than kind of, you know, embracing the fullness of it. So yeah, let's just get some new prompts in. So we want a new art is, and we want a new set of colours. So art is dinosaurs, and what colour is dinosaur art? This has been a good opportunity for me to have a little drink, so artists must stay hydrated. I'm going to take my jumper off because I'm getting quite warm. I should have gone for one of those kind of cliche artist smocks. So, someone type in some colours and some percentages. Just a sequence of colour names and number names. So red, yellow, green, blue, and white are the colours that the robot can identify. And let's see what we get. Okay, thank you, Andy. So, 40% blue, 30% red, 20% green, and 10% yellow. Right. So, we don't want to see any white on this canvas. But we do want to see a bit of green, which is good, because that's the colour that's hardest to get rid of. So, let's start off. Let's paper over some of it. So, we want some dinosaurs. So, let's start with a nice kind of Diplodocus head up here. And a neck. Let's make a nice, beautiful Jurassic Park-ly kind of scene. We can give it a... There we go. It's got a little jaw there. Fill in some of this gap with kind of dinosaur shape. We are getting close to the right amount of red on this. So we're already off to a good start. I guess we will want this dinosaur to be mostly blue. So maybe, but we've got to think about what's going on in the background, don't we? I think we want to have like a volcano or something in the background, so I'm going to cover up this bit so we've got room to put a volcano or something in the background. We might end up painting over red with red, but it's good to give ourselves the option, isn't it? That won't stick to anything, so let's just leave it there. And right, what do we need? So we need some blue to come in here. I'm gonna just clear up some of this space that was created by the blue, because it's not kind of obvious what's going on, but we have ourselves. So we want a blue dinosaur. I think I want a kind of volcano erupting in the background. We've got a lot of colour to play with now. So let's start with the blue, because I think that's going to be the kind of the bulk of this piece. It's going to be in blue. I'll see if I can mix the poster paint and the acrylic together and see if that makes a kind of a deeper blue, but solving some problem that I had in my mind that I can't remember what it was. So 36% art, that is, I think that is a U. that is a 3rd degree level, so I think might even be a fail degree level. Well, it fails 30%, so we've not failed our art degree yet, have we? So let's see, how much better can we do in our art degree now with this new prompt? Okay, let's mixing together this blue. Should be a bit darker. I can always go over it again with more acrylic if it doesn't hold. I wonder if what we want to do is do some of the light patches on the dinosaur in green. So let's, where are the shadows? The shadows, I can always adjust this as we go. Let's say the light source is coming up from the top left. So we want the shadows to be on the right, the bottom and the right. this dinosaur. Not want to get too close to the calibration area. We've got a front leg here, the back leg here. It's got a kind of belly to it. Give it the bottom leg here. I don't think that's even in camera shot, but I felt it was necessary to define the 3D world of the 3D form of our beautiful Diplodocus. There we go. And it's got a neck. I guess shoulder blade, is that? Do dinosaurs have shoulder blades, I guess? I mean, maybe I could think about it in terms of there's your rib cage there. It's got a spine coming along here. And so it'll have another leg at the back. Maybe that leg is kind of green because of light catching it slightly. It's rather abstract dino. Okay, let's just... Okay, we figured out roughly the form of this dinosaur, so let's... I think I'm going to fill it in, and then I'm going to do the highlights in green, which will be a bit more patchy. Let's get this dinosaur with its gaping maw. Maw will be the word of the stream now. That's spot on for the amount of colours, isn't it? Okay, so I'm thinking now, because that's quite a beautiful silhouette, I'm thinking the volcano's green and it's got yellow lava trickling down it. That'd be quite nice. I'm trying to think if I've forgotten anything that will make this look more dinosaur-like. Maybe if I give it like ridges or something down its back. I guess Diplodocuses had considerably longer necks than this, didn't they? So there we go, it's got ridges. I guess it's got a couple of ridges up on its top of its head. There we go. That's quite a nice dinosaur, really, isn't it? Bit too much blue now. But that's okay, because we can do the highlights in green, just like I said. This is coming together. I'm liking where this is going, so thank you very much for the prompt of dinosaurs. This is an interesting one to work with. So let's get a bit of... I mean, will that be picked up as green? Maybe not. Maybe I need to lather it on a bit thicker. Maybe I want to change brushes. Or maybe that secret green, that's just for you and me. The computer doesn't know, the computer can't identify it. Where would the light be coming down on this dino? Its face, and the top of its jawline. The ridges of its back. Along its foreleg. And down its neck. So you can see there's a bit of light catching it on top. This is real, this is secretive green. The robot can't even pick it up. Oh well. Let's carry on. Let's think about this mountain. We can always make it a bit thinner by painting some of the red in. But let's just fill out this mountain now. And what we'll do is I think we might squirt. Oh wow, it really thinks that is it thinks that is blue now. Interesting. Oh, I've got some green paper, so I might use that. Or maybe I'll mix in a bit of yellow into that. Is it going to... Nope. So I think it's changed its idea of what green is. So it no longer matches what we're using. I guess the wet paints and the dry paints look kind of different to it. So I don't know. But we adapt. Just like the dinosaurs did. Trying to ensure that I'm not covering anything up. No, I shouldn't be. But this is nice. This is getting there. We've got some... I should have some yellow-green coming down here as well. I think... I know we want to use more red, but I think I'm going to need to patch up some of that space with some yellow-green. Because we want that volcano erupting. It's interesting that does seem to be picked up as green, even though to my eyes it still looks like it's the red. Squirt in some more yellow and green. Make a new colour which I shall call Yeen. Big old pool of Yeen. Yeen. Is that an old meme? I don't know. Right. So we've got some volcano. We'll want a little bit more red, but we also want more yellow. And this is the magic. This is a bit I was really looking forward to doing. Is the liquid magma. There we go. Okay, I genuinely feel like Neil Buchanan from Art Attack right now. Art Attack was this like art show we had on TV as kids here in the UK, and it was like a kind of hey kids, get creative kind of thing. I mean, looking back, I think it has been quite a big influence on me creatively, because the whole attitude of it was just go for it, don't be afraid, make stuff, experiment, make something wacky, make something that makes you laugh. And just, you know, see what happens, don't get precious. And that's very much been, I guess, part and parcel of my creative identity, particularly in recent years. So I wonder, how do we make this dinosaur more red? Unless maybe we give it some red spots or something. Give it like a red pattern on its skin. guess I can see how much red we're taking up here. And I know that once we've eliminated the blue that we don't want, I can paint red over all of this, and then we end up with what we want. So, once more red up here. Oh, maybe it's emerging from the rocks. Emerging from the rocks and rubble. That's what it's doing. It's breaking free. The volcano is erupting and the eruption has awoken the dinosaurs. And so you got this dino in the foreground. Which is apparently almost spot on for the amount of blue that we want to get rid of, which means it's now time to replace that all with red. There we go. Okay. How are we doing? And now the patches become red. The red rubble that bursts out as it breaks free from the ground. The fossil comes to life. The dinosaurs emerge. Do you ever read that? There was this picture book when I was a kid about, it was like dinosaurs and all that rubbish. And it was about this guy. He's a very rich man and he builds himself a space rocket. And he flies off to this other planet. And then when he gets there, he gets kind of bored of it quite quickly, so he flies off to this other planet. And when he gets there, it's full of dinosaurs. And this isn't the twist. I think you see it when it's all going on. While he's away, the dinosaurs emerge from the earth to try and get rid of all the rubbish that we've created, all the cars and exhaust tubes and stuff like that. So when he goes to what he thinks is a new planet, it's actually just the Earth, but the dinosaurs have come back, and they've been smashing it up because they want their planet back. They want it to be clean again, and I think he learns an important lesson about looking after the planet or something. And that's what this is making me think of: the dinosaurs erupting from the Earth. %, so that is an A at A level, which is good, which I'm happy with. But what needs to be a bit better? We need a little bit more blue and a little bit less green. The two colours that seem to be most in battle with each other. It's detecting very little white, that's interesting. So, maybe I stick in some blue. Stick over some blue on top of that. Where will we put the blue? I wonder if we just use the blue to kind of create a boundary there. 85. Can I get it up to 90? What would I need to do to get it up to 90? Still need to get rid of some of that green. So I'm just going to try and mix some blue in with this green. Hopefully within camera shots so that the camera knows to pick it up. And a little bit of red instead of that green. Honestly, I'm quite pleased. 96% art! And it's staying there, it's pretty consistent. 94, 95, 96. Okay, this is the best art I've made so far today. This is magnificent. Right, so the only bits I can see it would get a little bit better is if I replace some of that white with the red. So hopefully I can get in here and just paste over some of the white with some red. But we are the very last little bits. It is hard to see how you get higher than... It flicked up to 98 briefly. I think I'm going to be pixel hunting at this point, so I'm happy to call this one. Thank you very much for the chef's kiss. I mean, I'm chef's kissing myself. Mwah! Oh, I mean, this is quite special, this one. Thank you very much for the prompt. Let's take a photo, add it to the gallery, and let's take a photo for the gallery. It's quite effective, that one. I mean, what you see on my phone is you don't get the like the shimmer, the light reflections coming off quite so strong. So I can show you, like, if you can see that, those are the sunflowers that we created at the beginning. And then, oh, it's upside down. There's St. Alistair. And then, that was Fear, falling into the gaping maw. And then, our beautiful dinosaur. Quite happy with these. Honestly, I'm really liking these. Like, I was expecting them to look like a total mess, and they do, but in a way that I like. So, right, and I guess they are weirdly more representational than I thought they would be. So, all right, let's have. Well, I've been going for an hour and a half. I could happily go on longer. So, let's have another prompt. So feel free to type in art is and the names of some colours followed by some numbers, and so that will determine the percentages of colours that it's looking for. Type something in. I'm going to grab myself some more water, oh, thank you very much for coming along, Helen. I'm really glad you enjoyed it. Thank you for joining in, thank you for typing stuff in, and also thank you for watching. It's been delightful to have you here. So, have a great day, have a great evening. Everyone else, this is your chance to get a prompt in. I am going to... thank you very much. I am going to grab myself either a glass of water or a can of iron brew. I haven't decided yet. Let's decide if I want to be healthy or not. I decided to go for the Irn-Bru, which, yes, it is Irn-Bru. It's not entirely unhealthy because it's the sugar-free Irn-Bru, but I mean, look at this drink. It's bright orange. The camera doesn't pick up just how bright orange this is. Maybe I should try and make the camera, like, you know, does it... So it thinks it's orange. But yeah, maybe I should be able to make the camera identify between Irn-Bru and non-Irn-Bru. We have a new set of colours to work with. Thank you very much, Chippy. And what will the new artwork be of? What is my inspiration? What is my muse? The great thing about that... Okay, that does make 100%. What it does is, if there is, like, any leftover space, it will fill it up with the colours that you previously used, and then it'll wangle it to make it all add up to 100. So, you know, you can type in red 1, yellow 1, blue 1, and it'll go, you know, if there's nothing else there, it'll just do a third of each. So, although I'm sure there's plenty of edge cases where it's going to just come up with funny stuff, but we'll, you know, this is testing. So, we know what colours art uses. But what is my inspiration? What is the distant flower upon the mountaintop for me right now? I mean, it could be Irn-Bru. I mean, that might be the challenge for me, is just to put Irn-Bru into whatever I'm painting right now. Got the kind of Irn-Bru that I can work from, so I can make it a still life. I could do just more dinosaurs, couldn't I? I mean, that would be an option. But let's see. I'll give you some time to think about more suggestions, or I might just go to the random word generator. Type one in myself from the random word generator, but you know, feel free to just like override my decision in the chat when I do type one in. So let's see, random word generator is giving me the word deep. Art is deep. Art is deep. Ah, thank you, Chiffy. Now that is a... Ooh, art is deep. So there's different ways I could go in. There's a nice lot of... Well, it's not that much blue in there, is there? It's a bit of quite an even spread between the colours this time. So deep, what does... like, looking philosophically deep, what is deep underwater? Is it fish? Is it anglerfish? You get it? Anglerfish is speaking to me quite strongly, because that's a nice vivid shape to draw. So I might start with anglerfish, and then see what that turns into as I play around. I do like... Yeah, oh, it can't be an anglerfish without a little light bulb. So... I think I'm just going to cover up large chunks of this dino with paper now. Unfortunately, that yellow paint is nice and adhesive. I wonder, like, what else could the anglerfish be doing something that represents depth? Maybe the anglerfish is reading philosophy or writing poetry, something like that. So I'm filling it up with white now, so that's good. White is nice and easy to work from. So, the anglerfish is underwater, stalking its prey with its light bulb. So maybe, okay, so the background is blue. It's blue water, but the anglerfish is quite close up. And that's how we do it. And we have a nice big green light coming out of a big red jaw in close up. I think that might work. I'm picturing it. So let's see how we do. We're all going a bit Bob Ross now. This happy little anglerfish. So wish me luck. Right, so headphones back on so I can hear the mood music. So yes, we do have some quite emotional mood music in my headphones right now, which is making me think. I mean, the depth could be to do with the anglerfish, because the anglerfish is, you know, is dangerous. Maybe the danger is all around you or something. Like, where's the depth? You know, that's. So let's just start with more. It really has become my word of the day, hasn't it? More. So we've got the outside of the fish here, with the teeth coming down. They have these long, spindly teeth, don't they? These big, wide jaws. Now, we're going to want to draw the horrifying inside of the mouth. Can't quite picture what shape that will be just yet. Let's get the body of this anglerfish in red. A nightmare of the deep. Where do I have their eyes, these anglerfish? Is it on the side? Oh, I'll put mine on the side. Just out of shot. So dead, soulless eyes, really, don't they? So what I'll do is I'm going to make some purple, and I will see what that gets picked up as. But we'll see in the photograph, like, because I want to be able to tell apart the inside of the anglerfish's mouth from the outside. So that gets picked up by the camera as a mix of red and blue. But it is kind of useful to know that we can mix colours. It's not something I'd really thought of. There we go. Now this is art music. Dance with me, children, dance. Now the murky green of the ocean, in which an unsuspecting fish will be swimming. What I'll try to do is make it kind of darker up at the top than it is at the bottom. So we can make it kind of light at the bottom and dark at the top. So this is getting kind of ambitious because I'm not using the colours literally anymore. I am mixing and creating and just letting the computer interpret them and then addressing that later. This may be a bad move. But we'll see how it plays out for me. I mean, right now, it is this kind of wash of different colours. But I wonder, I mean, I guess I could use some white paper to just kind of mark out some definite edges for everything if I wanted to. To make it a little bit like a kind of gradation of colours here, and then so I'm not going to worry too much about all the colours being right now. And I'm just going to draw in this big, here's the fishing line up over the top. It's going out of shot there, but that's okay. I mean, you can see it on the side camera. And going on top of that, the anglerfish's head. Let's give it. We'll paint on where the bulb is going to go. I think I'm going to do what I did with that. What I did with the volcano, which is to get some yellow and just use that yellow unadulterated and use a palette knife to try and mix it on without, and now that looks really bright, and I wonder. So this would be a challenge, but let's see if I can do it. If I can just dribble on. There is the light emanating from it. So I'm using a palette knife because I don't want it to really mix with the paint below it, because I want it to stay pure yellow. Anyone who was in my class with me at in A-level art back in school will remember me making frequent use of palette knives. I did basically, I did everything with palette knives. But it was something that my art teacher suggested to me, and actually my dad did as well, and I kind of ran with, was using the palette knife because it forces you to be a bit looser. You know, with a brush you end up focusing on all the little unimportant details, but with a palette knife you go, you know, you just have to deal with what's there. You know, you can't get too precious, and you know, you get looser movements in your arm. You know, it stops you fixating on the details that aren't important and gets you sort of thinking about the whole. So I'm a big fan of the palette knife as a painting tool. Now, we've got a lot of yellow in this painting, a lot of red, sorry. We need more yellow, and we need a bit more blue. So I wonder if we can make the gaping maw blue on the inside and add some yellow highlights for the detail on the anglerfish. So let's see what rinse off a fresh brush. I've got a tub of water. Tub of water here with me. Right, so let's get some yellow on here. Let's start with that. Nice big blob of yellow into my palette. My palette is the tray that some veggie burgers came in. If any of you in chat are ever worried about having the right tools for making art, well, here is an example that you can follow. Although, you know, I mean, I'm not exactly making Shakespeare here, but I'm proud of it. I'm pleased with what I'm making. So, like, but then, you know, I have no aspirations to make Shakespeare. For me, it's about the process. You know, the process is what matters. The process of taking a strange prompt and making it work. So let's lather on this yellow. I might have to get really goopy with it for it to be noticed, or I may just need to add some white paper on top. I have to say, like, it does make it kind of surreal looking with all the, like, the weird gradation of color and everything. Like, when you have different colors poking through the brush strokes, it really does show, doesn't it? Like, it just has this kind of unsettling, surreal vibe to it. Unsettling being a vibe that I tend to go for quite readily with my work. Now you can see it is flickering between amounts of art because it has no idea what to do with this. It's just way too messy for it, so it can't decide. And maybe that is the best art is divisive, so let's keep this anglerfish going and think for a moment what it might need to do. So we want less red and we want a bit more blue. So let's get some of that. Let's make them all blue. That's step one. Make them all blue. It's like it's sort of just switching between the red and the blue and the green. The yellow seems to be fairly consistent in terms of how much it thinks there is, but the blue is like, I can't tell, man, I can't tell. Can't decide. So let's help it. Let's get some blue into that more. Got the deep more of the anglerfish hovering around 60% art. Needs some more yellow, so let's get the paper out again. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to do this in little bits of paper, because the yellow paper is kind of unambiguous. I'm enjoying this kind of voyage of discovery, like figuring out ways to make it look how I want. So I'll tell you what put this idea into my head. Because I had this basically, like, so I had all this, like, the code that I'd written for detecting the colours and everything, and this method of having the calibration lines down the side. That's something I developed roughly this time 2 years ago, and I was working on it as a game that I thought might be, you know, a good alt control game. You know, could be something I could submit to alt control GEC or something. You know, that was the year that Shredwood had been in. And I kind of liked the idea of doing something with paint, because I think paint is a really strange and interesting object to work with, you know, because it is messy and chaotic. And I think often when we work with technology, we work with things that are more kind of predictable and more binary. And so I made this game using all this stuff, but the problem was, it wasn't very good. You know, that was the biggest issue with it, was it wasn't particularly good. So I kind of I didn't scrap it, I just sort of sat on it for a couple of years. And it was just one that I kind of chalked up to experience. I was thinking last night about how I've not been able to perform any playable shows during the pandemic, and how I was kind of missing being able to do the thing that makes me me. You know, what's the thing that I do as a creator that other people don't seem to be doing so much? You know, what is my creative identity? And like the big thing, I like to make a mess. I like making a mess and encouraging other people to make a mess. You know, that's the thing, like with a playable show is a stage show where I get people to, you know, jump up on the seats and throw inflatables around, and you know, and it's a big barrel of chaos. But the reason it's a big old barrel of chaos is because I want people to engage with that, you know, to sort of loosen up and be free, you know, not worry about things being tidy and proper and that, you know. And so I wanted to work, you know, and it got me thinking, like, you know, the playable show, the thing that is hard to replicate is getting people to make physical contact. That bit I don't know how to solve. But can I still do something that encourages people to be messy? Or lets people just play around with messiness, even if they're not getting messy themselves? And I kind of realised that I've had this sort of sitting around for ages. I've not done anything with it, and this is exactly what I wanted, because it is messy, you know, it's paint. And so I got up at like 9 this morning and was like, I just had this idea of, you know, taking that game which I'd already made and turning it into something that would make sense on the stream, and this is what I came up with. So I spent, you know, 3 or 4 hours this morning. Basically, I got up at 9, had breakfast, and then from 9:30 until about 1 o'clock, I was coding away, basically taking the more kind of game-like structure that this had, and taking out all the kind of game logic, and replacing the prompts with a kind of from a random prompt generator with this thing where people type into Twitch chat. And so that took about 3.5 hours to implement, and then it's about 1 o'clock, here I was. And honestly, I'm quite happy with how this has turned out. Like, I am enjoying being creative and being messy in a way that I wasn't expecting to, and I guess messiness is the core and the heart of this experience, and I like that. So yeah, so I've been very happy with this stream. This has been really nice. It's been a hell of a lot of fun. And there's something kind of fun about having, like, yes, you've got the thing that you you want to draw, but you've also got this weird, like, nonsensical, like the computer vision thing, which, like, is really quite flaky. But it works just well enough that you can still use it, and the flakiness just kind of adds something to it, because you have to kind of problem solve your way around it. So you don't, like, if you'd asked me to paint an anglerfish normally, this isn't how I would paint an anglerfish. But it works in this context. You know, the context has encouraged me to paint an anglerfish like this. I do want to get some more green. There's a sort of space where it's picking up as blue around here, so I want to replace that with green, really, if I can. And then I think we might have ourselves... We're approaching 70%, so we've got a first. But can I make it greener? I'll try and bring it closer to yellow. See this area here, where my brush is? So this area is getting picked up as blue. I want to make it green. I wonder if I can put in some more yellow here, and that will help. And try and keep that yellow on the surface. That's making a difference. It is making a difference. So I think once I get to this... Ah, thank you very much. Yes, it does have a kind of dynamic, kind of movement to it that it would not have had if I was just doing this with a pen or paints normally. It would not look nearly this strange. That's good, it's hitting 80%. So if I... Oh, this is a consistent 80% now. It's going to be hard to say. I don't think there's much I can improve on this because it's all fluctuating so much. Like sometimes it's too much, sometimes it's too little. I can't see this improving in terms of the rating that it's getting. So all I can really do, I want to give it a nice, because that eye, you can't see it, the computer's not picking it up, but I can see it, and I want to give it a kind of a beady, soulless eye on the side there. So I think that will be my finishing touch on this piece. So let's squirt out some blue paint. Come on! This paint tube is kind of blocked. There we go. That's a sign of a paint tube that is nearly empty. Come on, blue paint, out you come. Now the gaffer tape, this paint tube didn't have a lid, so I just put gaffer tape, and now the gaffer tape was stuck to me. Anyway, here we go, let's give it a nice dark beady eye. I'm using the wet paint for this. and then it needs to have a little reflection in that eye. Just a little dollop of yellow. On top. Just shovel on a piece of yellow there. And there we go. I quite like that as an anglerfish. I'm very happy with that. So one bit I'm not massively happy with is that bit area there. So, I mean, we may even lose marks for this, but I kind of want to make this. I want to make this nice now. I've kind of grown attached to it. But yeah, I want to be able to define the difference between the anglerfish and the sea. There we go. I think that's our anglerfish. I'm very proud of that. I really like how the paper works as a kind of a highlight. That's really special. Yeah, I'm also worried about overdoing it now. I try not to worry. Like, I think it's something I know I used to like get quite precious about not wanting to overdo stuff in school, and I think I've learnt the value of saying, look, I'm gonna be throwing this away, so just do whatever. This is like, if you ruin it, then fine. You got to see it when it was nice, and maybe you make it even better. But I am happy with this anglerfish, so I am going to take a photo of this beautiful creature. So this was the word deep, which has officially scored about 85%, depending on where I stand. Right, I need one more prompt. I think I'm going to do one more prompt and then I'm going to finish up for the day. But I have to say, I'm really happy with this anglerfish. So I'm going to show it to you, get it on my camera. There we go. So that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like from my perspective. Like, the colours that I'm seeing and the colours that you're seeing in the webcam are slightly different. So yeah, here's my anglerfish. I'm very happy with that. That's a beautiful recreation there. So what's next? What are we drawing next? Let's I think from the looks of things you might be the only person in chat, Jiffy, so feel free to just type away, type in some numbers, type in some words. I do have a little monitoring thing. Mobile live dashboard, how do I get to that? Oh, I've got 3 viewers! So, yeah. So Chippy and 2 other people are watching at the moment, so the 2 other people, do feel free to type into chat. Also Chippy, you can type into chat as well. So just to clarify, you can see, oh, I know which side is which now. Over there on the side are the commands. So type a number followed by a colour, and you can do that for multiple colours and multiple numbers. They don't have to add up to 100%. It will do the calculations for you. But what was I saying? Yeah. So colours and numbers to tell the robot how much of each colour constitutes art. It's the anglerfish has it's attracted all the inspiration into its mouth, and now it's gobbling up all the inspiration. I mean, I could always just go to the random word generator again. That might be quite a neat way to do it. and I do have a kind of shuffler button which will just choose a random allocation of colours. But I'll give you some time. Just yeah. How about for colours? You got the numbers 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and just put a name of a colour next to any one of those. So like blue 5, green 4, red 3, yellow 2, white 1, or something like that. And that might, you know, and there we go. That's going to work something out for us. In the meantime, I'm going to go to the random word generator, but feel free to override me on this. Let's see, where do I had it open in Google? So hunting. That's a nice word. Hunting. So I'm thinking someone with an arrow or something could make it look like maybe a cave painting or something. Oh, that would be quite nice actually, a cave painting, maybe of like hunting buffalo or something like that. You know, like see if I can make it look like you know the caves in the Gorge de l'Ardèche? So there was this Werner Herzog movie. There's a documentary called Caves of Forgotten Dreams, and it was about these. Art is hunting. There we go. So Caves of Forgotten Dreams was this Werner Herzog documentary about these caves on the side of a river. It's the Ardèche River in France, which I actually canoed down. I actually canoed right past these without knowing they were there. I mean, they are quite hidden. They're up, you know, maybe 100 feet up on a cliffside. But inside these caves are the oldest known cave paintings. I maybe remember that wrong, but they're the oldest known cave paintings in the world. And, like, they are very selective about who they, you know, letting people in there, because they basically any moisture from human breath is going to decay these ancient paintings, which are hundreds of thousands of years old. And so they let Werner Herzog, and like it was like he was on camera and there was like one lighting guy and that was it, and they had an hour. And, you know, they were allowed no longer than an hour in this place to film it. And there's this documentary about all of that. But there was this painting. One of them really struck with me. Because there was this painting that was covered in a layer of, like, crystallized rock or something. Like, this painting, it had been drawn on the wall, and it was someone hunting buffalo, and it had been covered over like thousands of years of crystal forming on top of this. On top of that, someone else had come along and added more buffalo to it. Because they could tell, because it was on top of that layer of crystals. And that drawing was itself covered by a layer of crystals. So, so they were both, like, one of them was like 10,000 years old, one of them was 15,000 years old or something. The thing that fascinates me is that the person who added to the picture could not have possibly had any idea how old these pictures were. You know, if those paintings had been painted by this person's great-grandparents, then that would be out of living memory. So that person did not know that those cave paintings that they were drawing on top of were themselves thousands and thousands of years old. Like, I don't know what... I feel like it's in the order of hundreds of thousands, maybe tens of thousands, but either way, like, that is, you know, a ridiculous number of generations ago in the past. And, you know, but the person would have not been able to identify these ridiculously, you know, prehistoric pictures, would not have been able to identify them from something that had been drawn 100 years ago. And I just find that fascinating, the way that time is kind of... Like, we have a perception of time now that is based on written history and things like that. Like, to us, you know, 1,000 years means something. You know, 100 years is significantly different from 1,000 years, which is significantly different from 10,000 years, which is significantly different to 100,000 years. But back then, that wouldn't have been a concept that they had. You know, history went back, you know, a few generations, and that was it. And then everything else was just stories. And I don't know, that just blows my mind. So anyway, inspired by that, art is hunting. I want to make something inspired by the Ardèche, the Caves of Forgotten Dreams. So maybe what it is it's a cave painting, but can we do the cave painting like it is on the wall? Like it is in the rocks? Let's find out. What colours do we have? I haven't had any input from you in the audience yet. So what I will do is I'll press the randomize button. And then I'm going to just tweak it a little, but you know, you can change this if you want. Just type your own thing if you want. But I'm going to type in, because we're missing red, so let's have what we currently got. Okay, we want 10% red and the other, and 10% and 1% blue, and it's going to fill in the gaps with what it's already got. So maybe if I make it 5% blue, there we go. And you see it's filled in the gaps somewhat. So we've got a tiny bit of red, a big chunk of yellow and green, and a chunk of white remaining. There we go. So this will be the final picture for today. Let's get some paintings of hunting. I wonder if I can do something to mimic the kind of the crystal formation or something. Let's have a think about that. All that wet paint is nice and adhesive now. That's another... Okay, here's another Neil Buchanan thing. Neil Buchanan on Art Attack used to do the big art attacks, these big paintings, big pictures. And they would be made of stuff. You know, they would be made of fabric and items of clothing and things, and then shot from above, so that as a viewer, it looked... I've just realised that's what I'm doing here. Like, what I'm doing is putting down the layer of crystals, just like in the Gorge de l'Ardèche. So, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to... Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do the anglerfish again. I'm going to paint an anglerfish on top of this existing anglerfish. And maybe the anglerfish is... I don't know. Okay, it's the start of an idea. Like, I said that, and then I was like, no, that's just drawing the same idea again. But there's something in that. There's something in that. But yeah, Neil Buchanan. And he'd make these giant pictures out of just bits, you know, they found lying around, and it would be like, I want to say like, 50 meters or something, or maybe 20 meters wide or something. Like, how tall was a Neil Buchanan? Maybe 2 meters at the maximum, and they'd be like 5 Neil Buchanans tall or something. So let's say 10 meter by 10 meter pictures, you know, some even bigger. made up of bits of costume and stuff like that, and fabric that he found lying around, and shot from above, so that when you see them from above, they look like, you know, a painting. So it could be a picture of Santa Claus, or a picture of someone riding a bicycle, or something like that. And of course, all of those things, once you'd finished shooting them, like, they would be cleared up. You know, you make a picture, it's beautiful, you enjoy it, you take a picture for posterity, and then it all gets tidied up and goes away. And I kind of like that vibe, that, you know, there is a message there, which is to embrace the impermanence. You know, that this isn't about making something that, you know, this wasn't like highbrow art stuff. This guy was a children's entertainer, but it, you know, it wasn't. It was all like, the fact that these pieces of art was impermanent was built into the artwork. Anyway, so let's get the. I want to say we have yellow cave walls with kind of white highlights, and the people hunting the buffalo, and the buffalo themselves are painted in green. So I think we're going to get the big brush, and let's just layer on some yellow for the walls. So building up some yellow here. I mean, I guess we could have, like, who's looking at them. Maybe the figures looking at them are depicted in white. So how are we doing for colours there? I'll see if I can make this more yellow. But the brush is kind of contaminated with red now, so I need to wash that. That's pretty close. I'm going to put some chunks of yellow paper on in the bits where it's a bit ambiguous what colour is what. Will hopefully make it a bit clearer. But we've got a kind of rock wall that we're working with now. And I'm thinking, what other colours of card do I have? Do I have green card? Because if so, I can build the painting out of coloured card and then paint over it, like the, you know, crystals forming over the paintings in the caves. So that's mostly de-ambiguified what we've got here. So let's have a look at what card I've got. And I do... Oh no, I do not have green card. I have yellow, red and blue. I have a sneaky suspicion I threw out my green card when I used it to make a makeshift green screen. But I do have green masking tape. So, into the green masking tape box I delve. Let's see. Okay, so here we go. So let's start with a kind of a buffalo, you know, something. I guess what would they have been hunting? You know, this is France. Well, Ice Age, pre-Ice Age, I don't know. Ice Age France, What would they have been hunting? I mean, I seem to remember them being like kind of buffalo-like creatures, but they were kind of simple forms. That could be my starting point, really. So they had these kind of heads. I want to say they had antlers as well. Maybe I'll do the antlers in paint. I wonder if reindeer, would they have had reindeer and would they have been hunting them then? I suspect they probably would have. Let's make some antlers. I'm going to say reindeer because I have artistic license and I can use that however I so please. There we go. So we've got some kind of reindeer-like thing with horns. And let's give it some legs. Not to make it look vaguely like it's running away, but of course, back in olden times, they didn't quite, you know, exactly what these things looked like was a bit unclear, so let's just make them have wider bottoms of their legs and tops of their legs. That's quite nice, actually. Now I'm using a lot of green there. But that's okay, maybe we'll be covering up the green with something. Let's draw someone. I want to have someone with a spear hunting after this buffalo. I seem to remember the people being kind of headless. Not headless, neckless, you know? That these were people drawn in simple brushstrokes. Which I mean, thinking about it is a kind of strange thing. Like, the way that we depict people, when you think of primitive cave paintings, like, part of what makes them look primitive is that the people are stick figures. And then when you look at, like, pre-Renaissance paintings, like, where there was no perspective, everyone was all the same plane, and everyone had kind of weird proportions, and it looked kind of childish, but they had faces with identifiable, you know, features, eyes, noses, mouths. Like, now, why did cavemen not draw faces? You know, because when did this... Is it that, like, eyes and noses and mouths, like, the way we draw them when, you know, the pre-Renaissance, before, you know, the invention of drawing with perspective and things like that, before that, like, the concept of a face being eyes, nose, mouth, ears inside a circle, like, that way of viewing a human figure is something that came out of language. That, you know, we see a human being as a collection of symbols, eyes, nose, mouth, ears, inside a circle. Like, and that's not to do with visual representation, that is to do with taking this human being and turning it into a set of symbols that can be replicated, like writing. And that was a new concept, you know, that was a that was a concept that cavemen didn't have because they weren't writing with writing. Anyway, what have we got now? So we've got the cave painting here. We want to add some white, so I was thinking that we'd have some like paper figures watching them, but then we'd be covering this up, so maybe we see it from the other side. Is that the figures from the future are small and distant. And so we are seeing as if we are inside the wall. And we are seeing Werner Herzog and his cameraman from the inside of the wall. So this is a vision of the future from the perspective of the cavemen of the Ardèche region in France. It's quite a cute idea, that. I quite like that. What are we doing, Carl? So we are getting more yellow in there, but maybe we need to make these figures a bit bigger. But that's okay, because if we make them bigger, we can emphasize that they are behind the cave painting. So there's... let's give him a rucksack. And this is going to be a camera on the shoulder. You might need to use your imagination a bit, but he is holding up a camera. I guess I can make the torch and add some beams of light if we want to add more white to this. But let's get these figures in white. Got a white figure there. Looking through a camera. Which I need to make sure does not overlap with the calibration area. About as much as we can do, but we need to have a little rucksack as well. And there we go, so there's our shadowy figures. How are we doing on colour? So we need a bit more white in there, but that's okay. Let's get a pair of scissors for this. I want to cut some triangles out to be the light coming out from this guy's torch. I want it to appear underneath the cave painting because we are seeing this from the perspective here inside the wall, as if the cave was looking forward to the future. This is actually quite fun, like picking up the tape and putting stuff under it is quite a pleasant feeling as a sort of way of interacting with the medium. So where did I put my scissors down? I can't find them. It's typical Alistair. I'm always doing that. So let's get another beam of light. Just gonna have to go under these. Okay, I'm quite happy with that. I feel like we just need a little bit of blue coming in. I don't know where that blue is going to come from. Unless we maybe just want to frame it or something. Let's have some dabs of blue just up in the top and in the bottom. Oh wait, no! Okay. So the light's shining here, so we're going to have some shadows around here. And we can mark out those shadows with blue. So let's see what we can do with that. We can always paint some white over these people if we need to. And the hunting, the theme is meant to inspire, not dictate, so if we lose these figures behind some of this blue detail, that's actually okay. As long as the tape figures are on top, I think that's the most important thing conceptually here. I think the tape needs to be on top of everything. So there is enough blue now, but maybe not enough red. So let's hide the figures ever so slightly behind some red. She's going to eat away some of the white, but we can make some white reflections as well. So I'm actually happy to say goodbye to some of that, if it for purpose means the upshot is we can get some red in there. Let's do that. Let's see. There we go. So we've got a little too much red now. I wonder if something's happened to the calibration. But that's okay, because we can just fill that in. So we nearly have... We've got some good art numbers here. Fluctuating between 60 and 80. So this is ambiguous. That's what we want. We want it to be ambiguous. But we need some more yellow. So let's get some more yellow paper on there. Where's my yellow card gone? And what are the bits that are a bit too red? Who's the job of me? I guess it's basically the bits where I just put a bunch of red. But that's okay. I think we're just finding the right balance now, aren't we? So where do we need to put some yellow? We're going to put some yellow. Some big chunks under this guy's arm. It's kind of a bit too red. And out here, this guy needs to be defined a bit more. I guess we can hide the light beams behind some yellow. It's taking shape. I'll be honest, I kind of like the way that adding all of these bits of card is kind of hiding the details. So it is becoming less prescriptive. So we're getting an improvement in our art score. Unfortunately, this area, I don't think we can make it any less red, really. It's kind of stuck like that. But we can make some changes here. How are we doing for numbers? We need a bit more white now. If we get some white to go over that red. Maybe it's just a... Oh, it's hard to see, what would that white be? And maybe we just have the cave walls from the top are kind of marked out by white. Kind of like snow. Boundaries of this. Marked out in white, there we go. How are we looking? Oh, getting very close now, getting very close. We want to replace some green with some white now. This is very collage, isn't it? Oh wait, it's a deer, so it can have spots on it. How are we doing? A bit more white. How are we looking? 95% art. Between 90 and 95 it seems to be gravitating towards. I think I'm happy to call it a day there. I'm happy to leave this as my final piece. This has been a really good session. That's been like 2 hours 40 minutes I've been on doing this. This has been one heck of a lot of fun. I'd be delighted to do this again. So yeah, what can I say to wrap up? Oh, I've got to take the photo and then I'll just say a few words to wrap up. But basically, let's get that photo in. And I'll be putting these all up on my Twitter feed. So do head on over to my Twitter if you want to see all these different creations. But yeah, thank you very much everyone for coming along, for joining in, for typing into the chat. I'm really happy with how this went. This has been a hell of a lot of fun. it's also nice to get this old project, which was a kind of, it. Thank you very much. It was nice to get this old project back out of storage, kind of, because I think, like, when I was working on this 2 years ago, and the idea was it was a kind of competitive time limit kind of thing, is that you had to make paintings really quickly. You had like 3 minutes on the clock, and you had to, make the colours up and then sell before the time ran out or something. And it didn't click. It didn't really work. There were too many things going on, and but doing it as a kind of creativity stream works so much better. And it's just nice to say, okay, I had this thing which honestly I thought was a dead project. I thought, okay, that is just one to chalk up to experience. And actually it turns out, no, there is actually something interesting and creative in there. Something playful. And it is making me think, look, there is a power to streaming. Streaming playful stuff. You can do stuff over a stream that you wouldn't necessarily be able to do, with a game that people are expected to walk up and play with, or, with a show or something. Like, there is something new in this. So, this has really got me thinking. So, I'm definitely going to be up for doing this again. This has been a lot of fun. But anyway, if you want to see the photos, I'll be putting them up on my Twitter feed. I'll be putting them up. I have posted to my friends on Facebook. I think in the thread where I announced that I was doing this, I'll put up the photos there as well. But without further ado, my Twitter handle is the same as my handle here on Twitch, AGHerson, exact same spelling. So twitter.com/AGHerson, you'll find me there. Not sure what else to say to end this, except to say thank you all very much for coming. Have yourselves a wonderful day, wonderful evening, wonderful morning, wherever you are, and look after yourselves, look after each other, and keep on being awesome. Alright, cheerio everyone, bye bye!